Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has looked toward the horizon and asked, "Why are we here?" This question has birthed thousands of traditions, shaping our laws, our art, and our very identities. Today, we explore the vast landscape of human belief, from the major world religions to the ancient philosophies that still guide millions today. To call Hinduism a religion, in the Western sense, is almost a contradiction in terms. It has no single founder, no central authority, and no fixed starting date. In fact, the word Hindu was originally a geographical term used by outsiders to describe the people living beyond the Indus River. The practitioners themselves call it Sanatana Dharma, the eternal way. Today, we argue that Hinduism is not just a set of beliefs, but a sophisticated, pluralistic framework that has survived millennia precisely because it refuses to be rigid. It is an umbrella that covers everything from deep philosophy to vibrant ritual, offering a path for every kind of human temperament. The central argument of Hindu philosophy is the relationship between the Atman, the individual self, and Brahman, the ultimate, unchanging reality. While many see Hinduism as polytheistic because of its millions of deities, most schools of Hindu thought argue they are all different masks of the same underlying truth. Think of it like white light passing through a prism. The many colors represent the various gods like Shiva, Vishnu, or Devi, but the source, the light itself, is one. This leads to the concept of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. This isn't just a religious myth, it is a moral philosophy. Through karma, every action has an equal reaction, creating a system of cosmic justice where the soul learns and evolves over lifetimes until it reaches moksha, or liberation from the cycle. A common point of debate is how Hinduism organizes society. Central to this is dharma, a word that defies simple translation but essentially means duty, ethics, or the right way of living. Dharma is contextual. It changes depending on your stage of life, whether you are a student, a householder, or a seeker. While the historical caste system is often criticized for its rigidity and social inequality, the original philosophical intent was a functional division of labor and a roadmap for social harmony. Today, the argument within Hinduism is how to preserve the deep sense of duty and community that Dharma provides while dismantling the discriminatory practices that have attached themselves to it over time. What makes Hinduism truly unique is its acknowledgement that no two people are the same. Therefore, it offers multiple yogas or paths to reach the divine. Jnana Yoga is for the intellectual, seeking truth through knowledge and philosophy. Bhakti Yoga is for the emotional, seeking the divine through intense love and devotion. Karma Yoga is for the man of action, finding holiness in work done without attachment to results. By providing these diverse avenues, Hinduism argues that truth is a mountain with many paths, and no single path has a monopoly on the summit. This radical inclusivity is why Hinduism has rarely sought to convert others by the sword. It simply absorbs and respects the validity of others' spiritual experiences. Hinduism is often viewed as ancient, but it is remarkably modern. It is a living tradition that has navigated the rise and fall of empires, the challenges of colonialism, and the pressures of globalization. It argues that the universe is vast, cyclical, and deeply interconnected. Whether through the lens of science, which mirrors the Hindu concepts of a multi-billion-year-old universe, or through the lens of ethics, Hinduism remains a vital force. It teaches us that while the world is constantly changing, there is an eternal reality beneath it all. To understand Hinduism is to understand the human quest for balance in an ever-shifting world. Next is the Buddhism. Most people classify Buddhism as a religion. However, it lacks the two fundamental pillars of traditional religion, a creator god and a soul. For 2,500 years, the world has mislabeled Buddhism. We call it a religion because it has temples, robes, and rituals. But at its core, Buddhism is a rebellion against the very concept of religious faith. While other traditions ask you to believe in the unseen, Buddhism asks you to test the seen. The Buddha was not a messenger of God, he was a physician of the mind. His argument was simple: the universe is not a divine creation, but a causal machine. If you want to stop suffering, you don't pray for a miracle. You study the mechanics of your own consciousness. This isn't theology. It's a radical, ancient form of cognitive behavioral science. Perhaps the most difficult argument in the Buddhist framework is the doctrine of anatta, or non-self. We spend our lives building a self, our names, our reputations, our possessions. We argue that this I is permanent. Buddhism argues that this I is a fiction. It is a collection of changing parts, thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations, none of which are you. Think of a river. You call it the Mekong, but every second, the water is different, the banks are eroding, and the fish are moving. There is no permanent river, only a process. By letting go of the ego, we don't lose ourselves. We lose the prison of our own making. This is the ultimate freedom. The argument, suffering, dukkha, is not a punishment for sin. It is a natural result of trying to find permanent happiness in a temporary world. Critics often call Buddhism pessimistic, because it begins with the statement that life is suffering. But this is a misunderstanding of the word dukkha. It's better translated as unsatisfactoriness. The argument is this: we are like people trying to catch water in a net. We chase a new car, a promotion, or a relationship, believing it will finally make us happy. But because everything is anicca, impermanent, that happiness inevitably fades. Buddhism argues that our suffering isn't caused by the world being bad, it's caused by our refusal to accept that the world is temporary. We are fighting the laws of physics with our desires, and that is a battle we will always lose. In the history of human philosophy, we usually see two extremes: hedonism, the chase for pleasure, or asceticism, the denial of the body. Buddhism argues that both are traps. Siddhartha Gautama lived as a billionaire prince and found it hollow. He lived as a starving beggar and found it equally useless. The middle way is not a compromise. It is a surgical strike at the center of reality. It argues that a clear mind requires a stable body. You cannot find the truth if you are distracted by hunger, nor can you find it if you are dulled by luxury. This is the logic of the tuned lute. If the string is too tight, it snaps. If it's too loose, it won't play. It must be in the middle to create music. One of the most misunderstood concepts is karma. In the Buddhist argument, karma is not a supernatural bank account. It is simply the law of habit. Every time you think a hateful thought, you are carving a groove in your mind. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Buddhism argues that we are the architects of our own character. You aren't punished for your anger. You are punished by your anger. This places the ultimate responsibility on the individual. There is no one to forgive your sins, and no one to blame for your failures. You are the result of your own previous actions. This is perhaps the most empowering and terrifying argument in human history. To conclude, Buddhism is not a path of worship, but a path of awakening. It argues that we are all sleeping in a dream of our own making, a dream fueled by greed, hatred, and delusion. The enlightened person is simply the one who has woken up. They see the world as it actually is, not as they want it to be. This 30-minute exploration leads us to one final argument. If you want to change the world, you must first understand the mind that perceives it. The Buddha's greatest legacy was not a set of commandments, but a challenge. Do not believe me because I am a teacher. Believe me only when your own experience proves it true. In an age of misinformation and ego, perhaps the Buddhist rebellion is more necessary now than ever before.